Hey guys, was good? Triple J Boxing here. We just watched Teofimo, the Takeover Lopez versus Jamaine the Technician Ortiz. Both good nicknames. Both live up to their nicknames. But a lot of opinions being thrown on, and I knew this was gonna happen as soon as the fight ended. You're gonna say people thinking it was a robbery, and everyone says everything's a robbery now, which, like, I don't know, like, I do agree that maybe 117 117 111 is maybe kind of maybe a little too much. One of the judges had that for Teofimo. What would that make it? Um, how many rounds to how many rounds is that? I don't really know actually right now. I can't think of it. But it sounds wide, but I don't know. Did the right man win? I think he did, and not just because I like To. He's good for boxing and stuff, but he's obviously a good fighter. He's exciting. He's usually in good fights, except this fight definitely wasn't an exciting fight, and it's just funny how people. I think it's because Tio talks so much shit that people are going to be harder on him too, so they're going to say he lost, right? And I don't know, boxing fans are just so they're so hard on the fighters. You know what I mean? Like, look at Shakur last week. Everyone was attacking him. That was like kind of similar to this. It was a boring fight, except it was kind of the opposite. Shakur was the one not wanting to really engage that much with Edwin. I remember he really didn't want to, like Edwin De Los Santos when he fought him, Shakur's last fight. He didn't really want to let his hands go. So, and in this case, it was more Jamaine Ortiz didn't want to really let his hands go that much. Though the first 6 rounds, I think he let his hands go enough to where you could call that very good boxing. But I think the second half of the fight, he was more like a track star. And I know some people might attack me for saying that, but I feel like the first half, that was good boxing. The second half, he was on his bike too much. He didn't want to really he didn't let his hands go enough, and I think that's why he lost the fight, and he made it a close fight, because it was still a close fight, because he won the majority of the first half, I would say. But and even the punches that both men landed, and none of them were really landing that clean for either fighter. No big shot really stood out in this fight, like, whoa, he's hurt or anything on either side. But Tio at least was trying to make something happening. He was the aggressor. He landed some shots, but I feel like his shots obviously have more oomph behind them for the judges. They're more harder. Chris Algieri said when he was in person that you don't really appreciate Teofimo's power until you're there. You can kind of feel how strong his punches are by being in the presence of it. Where on the TV you don't really see it, so that wows the judges in person more. Tio's power, but yeah, he wasn't really landing that much at all. But on the other hand, Ortiz wasn't really landing that much, and when he landed, his shots just didn't have that much power behind them, since he was fighting off the back foot most of the time boxing, and he's not known to have that much power anyway. So I thought that Jermaine, if he kept up what he did in the first half with throwing as many punches, like his offense was decent enough in the first half. If he carried that on to the second half, I would have gave it to him. But no, he didn't. He slowed down, and he started being more of, you could say it was running more in the second half than boxing. I know some people call that boxing. I thought it is boxing what he was doing in the first half. The second half, it is entertainment, guys. It is not a sparring match. It is not, you're not working on stuff. You got to give the fans some entertainment. I feel like he was running way too much and not throwing enough to land or to win rounds in the second half, really, and that's where Teo took over. And then the championship rounds, Teo really took over in the 12th, 11th round, especially the 12th round. He showed that he wanted it more. So I agree with the decision. It was a close fight. You would say, yeah, rematch, but do we want to see that again? I don't think we do. And I don't think Teo wants that. And I don't think the fans really want that. Unless you're Jamaine Ortiz, big fan of his. I don't even know if their fans want to see this because it just wasn't that good of a fight stylistically for the casual fan. Now, obviously, if you appreciate the science, maybe you like that what you saw by both fighters. It was a tactical fight, good defense by both, but just not much offense landing by either fighter. Um, but no one's going to want to fight Jamaine Ortiz. That's the problem. Poor guy. He's very skilled, but no one's going to want to fight him after this. That's for sure. So I just really think that if Jamaine goes back to the drawing board and looks back at the fight, and maybe he just gassed out. Maybe that's why he didn't throw as much. But maybe if that was an actual tactical thing by his team to say, know what, let's slow down. Let's not try to get caught with something. Let's be more cautious. I feel like that was the downfall then. But if he just gassed out, then he gassed out, right? But he did that with Loma too. But I think Loma tends to come on harder later in the fight. But yeah, so it was maybe both. Jamaine slowing down and Loma coming on more later in the fight. But I just feel like Ortiz should have let his hands go more. And if they do rematch or if he's in another high-level fight for a title, he's got to remember that I lost this fight because I was using good lateral movement and moving, but I wasn't throwing enough. So if he can go back, throw even like 10 more punches on each round, 10 to 20 more punches per round late in the second half, he probably maybe would have won this fight. But he didn't. He was on the bicycle, guys. We all know he was on the bicycle. I give it to Teo. Just because Teo really tried to push the action, you could tell. Teo reminded me of Canelo, kind of. He has the same kind of style. I feel like Teo is explosive, but his footwork, maybe he could work on it a bit more, for sure. Obviously, it's hard when you got a guy moving like that, a guy with good legs like Ortiz, and he's moving laterally. It's hard to hit a guy like that, but you have to throw back, and Ortiz wasn't throwing back in the second half. The first half he did great, but yeah, I think he deserves a rematch. But like I said, I don't think no one will want to see it, and it just won't sell. I don't think so. I think Teo. I don't know. After seeing this, I think Devin could be a bad stylistic matchup for him. Now, I feel like the legs of Ortiz are possibly better than Devin Haney's legs. Different styles, guys. I know a lot of people are going to think, oh, if Ortiz can outbox him, Devin Haney's the better boxer, it's going to be no contest. But it's still a different style, guys. Ortiz is a different style than Haney. I feel like the lateral movement by Ortiz, maybe his legs are even better than Haney's, but Haney does other stuff better, right? He controls the distance good from not even using the legs, just with his jab and stuff. But I thought Devin Haney was going to do better against Lomachenko, but he didn't. I picked Haney to win, but I thought actually Lomachenko won after they fought. I thought Loma beat Haney, but going into it, I picked Haney to win. I wasn't impressed because I thought he was going to dictate the distance and do a lot better than what he did. Still, it was a close fight, but I clearly thought Lomachenko won. The body shots are just not enough from Haney to win that fight for me, because everyone brings that up. Oh, body shots! Like, come on, guys. The body shots weren't enough for Haney to win that fight. So you never know, but you would think that Haney might be a tough style for Teo, but we'll see when it happens, guys. I think Teo probably matches up best against like a Ryan Garcia. Who else? A Tank Davis. Guys like that, I think, because they're willing to trade, right? Willing to trade with him. Shakur, I don't think that's probably a real bad stylistic matchup for Tio, but every one of these guys does it differently, different styles, so you never know until it happens. But for Tio, I think Ryan Garcia would probably be the best exciting fight for the fans and definitely winnable in spectacular fashion for maybe Tio in that fight. Tank is another one because these guys are willing to fight at least, right? But like I said, styles make fight, guys. I still want to see Tio fight Haney, obviously. But imagine Haney versus Jamaine Ortiz. Man, we wouldn't even fall asleep. We would turn into bears. We would learn the ability to hibernate if we seen Haney versus Ortiz. But anyway, guys, or Shakur versus Ortiz. That would be another one that I don't know. It's going to be so tough for him to get fights now, Ortiz, after this. And it's a shame because he did well, but he hurt his chances at making more money because no one's going to want to fight him because he's a tough matchup. It's going to be tough for him. If he went out with a bang and he got knocked out and he exchanged more, he probably would have got more fights than this. Because now everyone's going to be afraid to lose a decision to him because the guy knows how to move and box, right? And it's just not a big reward if you beat him, to be honest. I can't see the top guys lining up to fight him after this fight. But anyway, guys, it was a boring fight. It was frustrating to watch at times because Tio just couldn't catch the guy. It was kind of like Canelo in some of his fights when he had trouble landing. I know like he had trouble landing against Bivol. I think Caleb Planty had trouble. There's been other fights where Canelo's had trouble landing, but he always eventually lands that big shot and knocks them out. In the case of Bivol, he didn't. But, Tio, maybe he needs to work more on cutting off the ring for these type of lateral movement fighters. And I know you got to give credit to Ortiz. He's very strong legs, very good lateral movement. Not everyone can do that, but I just didn't think he threw enough in the second half to win rounds. And Tio needs to maybe study this, go back to the drawing board. And I know it's going to be tough to land on these guys, but you have to figure out a way to land that shot. So, wasn't what Tio wanted or what the fans wanted. They wanted a more exciting fight. But I gave Tio the benefit of the doubt. I think he won the fight by a little bit. It was close, guys. But like I said, that second half, Ortiz was on the bicycle way too much. That's the problem. And when you got a guy who's willing to trade and is walking you down like that, and you're not really deterring him, you're not really throwing anything at him. And obviously, he's not hitting you either, really, because you're moving so well and you're moving so quick. I don't know. Like, you still can't give it to that guy, though, those rounds. You can't give it to Ortiz. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on it. I have it funny that everyone's criticizing Tio, though. I don't know why everyone hates on Tio after the Kambosos fight. Everyone just hates on him. These same people were loving him when he beat Lomachenko, even though I thought Lomachenko beat Tio. Another close fight. But I thought Lomachenko... let me put it this way. I thought Teofimo Lopez did better against Lomachenko than Haney did. And I still thought Lomachenko won both of them, but Tio... it's funny how these... I don't know if it's the same people, but I'm guessing the same people loved it when he beat Loma, but now they hate on him ever since the Kambosos loss. Everyone jumps off the bandwagon, and people hate on Tio. But if this was like the same performance, like say if this was Tank, who had a performance like this, they would still say, oh, he outboxed him. Oh, his hand was hurt. He had one arm. There's always an excuse there. So it's just, people are going to hate. It's just a bad style for Teo, and Ortiz didn't take advantage of it in the second half. The fight was there to win, and he just didn't. He didn't do enough in the second half. But anyway, guys, let me know who you thought won. Who do I want to see Teo fight next? He's saying he's going to fight in Honduras next. I would probably... I'd like to see him fight Ryan Garcia or Tank Davis. Who else you got? Terrence Crawford would be a good fight. He wants to fight Terrence Crawford. But there's others too. There's other fighters in the 140. You got Rolly. You got I don't know. I guess I would see that because he'd probably not go Rolly, but Pitbull Cruz is probably going to beat him to it. I'm gonna say Ryan Garcia versus Teo would be a fire fight. That would be great. Or Tank. Those are my top two fights I'd like to see him fight. But yeah, guys. Or even maybe get that Kambosos rematch for him. That would be nice. See how he does against Lomachenko. But winner of that fight, maybe he fights Lomachenko again, right? So there's a lot of opportunities there, guys, at 140. Obviously, some of these guys are at 135, but they could always move up for a big payday with Teo. I like the ring entrance. I like how we use the circus, the circus music, because everyone's been calling him a clown. He's like, yeah, I'm the clown, and he actually played it up in the walkout, playing the circus music. I thought that was great. He's good for the sport, guys, Teo, and just because he has a bad stylistic matchup, doesn't perform, maybe doesn't get the knockout. Anyway, guys, if that was Mayweather, everyone would give him a pass. Why not Teo? Right? So, I don't know, guys. I'm looking forward to who he fights next. I'm a fan of Teofimo, and Ortiz, though, he put in a good run. I gotta say, it was there to win, but he dropped the ball in the second half of the fight. He was on that bicycle too much. He didn't throw enough in the second half, so that cost him the fight, in my opinion. But yeah, guys, this is Triple J Boxing. Thanks for watching. Take care.